All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome back to today's live stream. Hope everyone had a good weekend and is ready back for another good week of trading. We're here on a Monday morning for a New York AM session here on January the 29th. There's no news today, so we don't have to worry about that interrupting our trading. If you see an opportunity, I think it's going to be one that we can put our energy towards and not worry about what's going on with news. Let's look and see what we got. We'll give everyone another minute or two to join in, and then we'll get started with our analysis, and then we'll get ready for the opening bell. Let me take a look and see if there's anything in the chat. Oh, D. Anderson, good morning. Vivian, Fred, Anus, hello, everyone. Absolutely, good morning. Let's make some money. All right, well, let's go ahead and get started so we can finish up before the opening bell and be ready for whatever kind of action we get there. If we could, looking at the US dollar on the weekly chart, we can see last week we eclipsed the high of the previous week there. As we see the dollar continuing to move towards these equal highs, this pool of liquidity above. Before I was wondering if we were going to get a small retracement and a continuation to the downside, because we also have equal lows here for another pool of liquidity. But past few weeks, dollars continue to make higher prices, continue to show bullish momentum. Even though we're seeing bullish activity also in the equity market, the dollar still seems like it's pushing towards this target. So I have it ID'd as where the dollar wants to go. Now, what we may see once it gets there is a penetration here and then moving towards weaker prices and then getting down to the equal lows here. But as of right now, it looks like the dollar is really pushing towards these equal highs. And so in looking for bullish prices out of the dollar, we need to be cautious as we look at the equity market, as it may actually seek lower prices in the short term, in the near term, while the dollar is raising up. And then if we do see a meltdown from the dollar, then that's when we'll see a push for higher prices in the equity market. Equities could continue to push up, even though the dollar is showing bullish momentum here, because that's what we've gotten the last few weeks. So it could continue. It's just generally you see the dollar and equities moving in the opposite direction. So we'll keep watching price, and we'll just trade as price is delivered. But that's just our expectation right now. So yeah, so once the high here is eclipsed, which is last week's high, We just want to see how price reacts there, whether we get a rejection or whether price continues to push higher. Let's see if anything's on daily. Yeah, we can see here, even though we've been seeing for the week bullish prices, and that's been, going against what we see in the equities market. It really is a long-term consolidation here. We saw the same a few weeks back. We saw consolidation for 7 or 8 days, and then we saw 2 days of expansion. Now, here we are in a big consolidation range again, and it looks like potentially today may be an expansion range. We'll have to wait and see. Last time this happened was on a Tuesday. It was a Monday, Tuesday, so we may get the same thing again. So again, once we eclipse this high on the daily chart, we want to see how does price react. Do we get a race up to the pool of liquidity I mentioned, or do we get a rejection back into this fair value gap here? So that's what we want to pay attention to. We move over to ES. Let's see. So ES, while we did eclipse these highs from a few years ago on NQ last week, ES has not done that. I know it has achieved all-time highs, I believe, but these prices are adjusted for the quarterly range. So every time there's a new quarterly chart, they adjust the historic charts. And so 2022 levels are actually now at 50.27. And if we look at where we are now, we're not far off. We're at 49.17. There's really not a lot in sight to hold price back. So I'm expecting also for price to reach for these highs. Remember, we just looked at the dollar, where the dollar has a similar target, and I thought it may retrace. Because NQ has already reached its target, I see ES just being a few steps behind, and it's going to move towards its target this week. Not that it'll reach it this week, it may, but I'm just saying move towards. So that is eclipse the high from last week, and start making some progress towards 50.28. Let's see if we drop down to the daily. All right, equal highs here, so that's a good sign. Meaning price will want to return here. We'll want to make sure these highs are not equal for long. There may be a small retracement earlier in the week, and then we'll push towards these anywhere Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Wouldn't be surprised if it happens today, but I'm not going to expect that with such a week ahead of us, with several days full of news, Tuesday through Friday. Let's drop down to the hourly and see if there's anything there to note. I mean, we do have a fair value gap here, so this is an area that we could return to when these equal highs were broken by this candle on Friday, January 19th. There's not been a return to this area yet, so there's been no retest of this level. So we may see that. All right, as we look at today, just today only, Asia and London highs already been swept. Lows have not been swept. So we have Asia low from Thursday night swept, Asia low from last night. We do not have swept. And also, as I look at, let's see, we did sweep the London low. So for right now, I think it's important to just pay attention to the opening range and then look and see where we land as far as the New York range, and look for opportunities just after 10 o'clock. Prior to that, if we just look at the regular trading hours to see what kind of gap we have there. All right, so we have overlapping gaps from Friday for regular trading hours, just because it's kind of been ranging here. So on Friday, we traded all the way back through this opening range. The opening range gap that was there, we traded all the way back through. Now the opening range starts here, extends all the way down here. Right. Actually, excuse me, that could actually be a previous day. Opening range gap has not been created. I don't know. Got to wait until 9:30 to see where we are, and then we'll see the opening range for today. My apologies for that. Sorry, it's Monday morning. Okay, let's go over to ES. I'm sorry, over to NQ. NQ. Now we're gonna take a peek at the weekly. Move the session highs and lows. All right. So last week on NQ, we saw the all-time highs taken, and we saw a rejection immediately afterwards back into the previous range. And so this week, it'll be interesting to see if we continue to see price just maybe consolidate. Maybe if we see a retracement into some untapped zones, untapped areas, as opposed to continuing to make new highs as it waits for ES. Because remember, ES is just a few steps behind, trying to eclipse its all-time high. So the question is whether NQ will want to continue while ES is behind, and whether it wants to continue in general. So we'll have to wait and see. My bias is that ES will continue, that NQ will continue to both show bullish biases and continue up. We'll get a rejection on price of dollar, which will support price of equities continuing to print higher prices. And in doing so, we just need to watch and see if there's going to be a retracement prior to moving higher. As I mentioned, ES is a few steps behind, so it may want to wait for ES to catch up before continuing for higher prices. So we just need to just make sure that that's what price wants to do today, or if it wants to wait till later in the week. As I mentioned, there's no news today, so we just need to watch price as it prints. As we move into the daily, yep. See, again, there's more fair value gaps to trade back into prior to moving higher. So so we need to continue to watch price as we look at the swing high. If I remove this high here, if we're looking for higher prices, I'm looking to see this high swept right here, which is really close to the all-time high. So it's not really that big of a difference. Normally, or sometimes on a swing high, it can be different. And so you really look for the third candle. So we have a high and we have a lower high, and then the lower high to the right. We really want to see this high right here eclipse. But since the lows were eclipsed first, it would not surprise me if we do return into this fair value gap first prior to going higher. And the same thing, when this high was eclipsed on its march up towards all-time highs, there has not been a retest of this area. So it is not retraced back in, and we do expect that to happen as we push for continuing higher prices. And so that's what I'm waiting for. I'm thinking that we may retrace back prior to going higher. But again, when we do go higher, this is the level to look for. It's a 17,751 to confirm that we are moving higher. All right, with that, we will get to the opening bell. We are just a minute late, so let me drop down. We'll sit on the 15-minute while we watch the opening bell. All right, good morning, iMask. I am that Mohican. Ranwolf. All right, let me put up the session highs and lows now that we're on a lower time frame. Also had a test of the 8:30 open here several times. Rejection. Now it looks like we may push down to the midnight open. Okay, and also we have equal lows right here. Okay, the opening range so far is from the 8:30 open to the midnight open. Bob, good morning. Welcome. Let me drop down to the 5 minutes, see if it's a little clearer there with a few more candles. Okay. Yep. So we have the one rejection off the midnight open. We had equal lows here that were swept on the way down twice. But it's getting hung up on this bearish fair value gap just above. All right, Wiki, good morning. Absolutely. Good luck to everyone today. Happy trading. Morning, Tommy. All right. Easy target here of equal highs. Let's see what is. I think now we can look at what the regular trading hour gap is. Now we see what it is. It's here. So down as far as 17,509. So it's so important in near term, whether it's today or tomorrow, we expect price to retrace majority of the way, if not all the way through, down to 17,509 at some point. And we have the previous day low right nearby. So if we go down and sweep through this area, my guess is we're probably going to tap through this previous day low. So we'll sweep that as one of the objectives on the way down. So let's get back to electronic trading hours. All right, those equal highs I was just talking about to be taken right here. Okay, London high has not been traded to yet. Okay, last time it was in this fair value gap, there was a failure. We saw lower prices. Let's see how it performs this time. Okay, we see a slight retracement, it's just shy of taking that swing high there at 17,578. TJ, man, that's amazing. Awesome. Everybody, send a congratulations to TJ for passing his funding challenge. All right, Clinks, congratulations on phase one. So hopefully you have the same success on phase two, and then we'll be announcing that you're passing sometime soon. Congratulations. Oh, okay, Bob. Way to go. Let me check with Topstep, Bob. I'll check with Topstep and see what's the hang up on your situation. I know normally it takes a couple days for them to get everything squared away and get your registration and everything done. But if it's been more than a couple days, then yeah, we definitely need to see what's going on. All right, so we have TJ pass, we have Bob pass just recently. We have Clinks, who is through half of the challenge, past phase one. We have anybody else who passed their challenge in the last, let's say, how many people have passed the challenge since the year started? Let's start there. We have 40 people in the room. Let's see how many people we have who have passed challenges in 2024. All right, so we did take that high there. So we retraced a little bit, but price eventually came to take that high. Now let's see if it wants London high next. It looks like it probably does. All right, we're almost 15 minutes into the opening range, and so far what we've seen is we've seen it come from a low of around what 548-ish, somewhere in that range, right around 548. And we've seen a high as 583 just recently. We see it now retracing. I'm trying to close in what will become a fair value gap as it has eclipsed this most recent high from 7 o'clock hour. Up next, we have the London high up at 591. And that London high was created at 4 o'clock, 410, where there was a swing high created, and then there was a meltdown in price back to the London open lows, which is where we sort of started here. And that's when price first started and it bounced below the 830 and then went to midnight. Whenever you get to the midnight open, you know you have traded for the most part through the London range. And or at least the London lows, so the opening ranges. And now the only thing to do is to eclipse the highs. We'll see when we get to 10 o'clock where the New York ranges are, New York low, New York high. And also just to remind everyone, we have the macro coming up in about 5 minutes. No problem, Bob. But I'm glad that you were able to pass your challenge and you're on your way to a brighter future with your funded account. All right, let's see, what did we get in the form of a retracement just recently? Oh, a little higher than I thought. I didn't realize we'd already made it back to 50%, which has already been accomplished on this basically the opening range leg. So now let's see if that 50% retracement is enough for enough retracement for price to make it up to the London high. Okay, well, let's put our measurement back up since it looks like that retracement is going to be much deeper than before. All right, so now we're looking at 71% retracement so far. All right, as we wait for our macro to come, if we have any newcomers in the room, it's your first time joining the live chat, go ahead and introduce yourself. Just let us know where you're from and how long you've been trading, just so we have a bit of information about your journey. And that's all. Just want to welcome you to the room. Oh, hey, what's going on? Morning, Antonio. How's it going? And good morning. Good morning, everyone. All right, so we're getting our regular crew here. Seems like we don't have any newcomers yet this morning, and maybe a little later, some newcomers will come in. The more likes we get, the more YouTube will promote us, and we'll get some newcomers in the room, and they'll hopefully not be shy and introduce themselves. So we'll give that a try in another hour or so. All right. In the meantime, we're still looking at this London high as potentially being a short-term target at 591. We've already seen a between 62 and 71% retracement, almost 71%. There's a fair value gap just below where 71% is, so it didn't retrace all the way, and we have relative equal lows here. So what we may see is a dip below into this range. There'll be a 71% retracement, and then we'll potentially look for London highs. All right, also in this area is the 830 open, 830. Now the marker is far off to the right, but this red dotted line is the 830, and the red dash line is the midnight. Okay, once again, relative equal lows, so now we have a third one. All right, Splash, good morning. CEO, hello, good morning, welcome. So, okay, sweet. That's awesome, Antonio. Glad you're doing good. Let me see, red dotted price. Now, what's that, Antonio? What's the red dot? Five minutes till 10 o'clock. 5 minutes to the hour. All right, so far we're seeing a consolidation here, so not a lot of not a lot of price movement in the last 10 minutes. We had a fair value gap here. There was a trade below, closure below, and then it's just kind of trading in this range. So we're going to wait for price to break out and see where it wants to go. A deeper retracement, remember, will be below 71%. We also have a fair value gap here and the 830 open, so a lot of confluence right there. Down at around 17,551. Yeah. You say you want numbers here? Let's see. Yeah, I don't know if it plots the numbers. I don't think it does. That doesn't put the numbers there. Nope, it doesn't show numbers. Armando, good morning. Even here, I have display, I have show label on. Yep, this one doesn't show the numbers either. Yep, here. This 830 is at 17,551. All right, I'll tell you what I'll do. Okay, so now the numbers are here. You have the numbers for both 551 and 531 and a quarter. I'll even do it the same as the same as what the indicator was doing. All right, 10 o'clock, everyone. All right, so candle body sat right on the 830, traded below, but the body stayed above. Let's get that measurement once again. 78%, 83.5%. Okay, what a retracement. So if I extend to the wick, then it's exactly 83.5%. Okay, all right, so we continue to see price retracing, and at least it broke out of the consolidation it was doing, but it's still retracing back down to, it looks like, where the London Open, potentially where the midnight open is. Now that it's past 10 o'clock, we have New York values. So the New York high is labeled at 583 and a half, and the New York low is at 529, 529.75. Right. So remember, if we see sweep of lows down here, then we still have the New York high and the London high that are open. So if we do see price start to turn around, we can believe in any impulse to the upside as potentially going for those New York high or the London high, or both. All right, so far we went from so high, low, lower high, lower low, higher high. Yep. So after this swing down and we had a lower high and then a lower low, we would have expected another lower high, but we didn't get that. We got a higher high. So now what we want to do is to make sure that price is definitely wants to go higher, or if this was just a liquidity sweep in lower prices is where we're going. And this New York low is going to give us that indication. Okay. Let's just quickly bounce over and take a peek at the dollar plus the three indices. And so we can see they do appear to be in sync with one another. Their price action doesn't look exactly the same, but it's similar. We have all the indices selling for this hour, even though the hour is pretty young. It's only 5 minutes in, but we see the dollar buying as well. If you look at last hour was different. That's also why we saw stalled price. We saw consolidation, but now we're seeing all the indices moving towards lower prices, and the dollar looking to potentially eclipse the high of last hour. So we'll check back in later just to make sure price is doing what we want it to do. But I just wanted to give you a quick peek while we let this opening range continue to print. Okay, so there's the lows. The New York low has been swept. So that graphic I just showed you where it's took out lows and then it took out highs, and I said, well, maybe that's just a liquidity sweep and we'll continue lower. It does look like we are continuing lower. Let's go back to, remember we were looking at the regular trading hours and we were looking at that range. Okay. That range extends down to 508. And like I said, if we get down there, we're looking at the previous day low. So maybe a sweep of that as well. All right, back to the midnight prices, which is also where we were just at the open 30 minutes ago. Yes. So, yep. So all times you see is New York time. Yep. Yeah. So it is 8:30, 8:30 open. Oh, okay. I know what it is. It's because I need to go back to electronic trading hours. Yep. So here we go, right here at 8:30, that opening price. Oh, crypto. Good morning. Good morning. I was wondering where you were. Surge. Good morning, Surge. Oh, okay. I got it. Yeah, I was a little slow getting up this morning myself. It was quite an eventful day yesterday. I went to Went out to the bar to watch the 49ers game and was disappointed for majority of it. And then that second half happened, and suddenly my spirits were lifted, and it just carried me through the evening. And uh, overslept a little bit this morning. Woke up a little tired, but I'm back, and we're here for a good day of trading. Okay, so we had a tap into a fair value gap here on the 5 minute, just a little further back, so I couldn't see it, or I didn't see it immediately. Just below the New York Open with a 5 minute fair value gap. Price tapped into it by just a couple ticks, and so far we've seen a pretty strong reaction to that level. Oh wow, very strong reaction. Okay. Right, relative equal highs at the New York high. And last time we came all the way up, but came just shy of taking out London's high, and price then started to crash down. So keep that in mind as price is now building back up, that the London high could be in play at 591. So it's about 30 points ahead of where we are. So I'm peeking back at the other charts, and we're back at the opening price at 10 o'clock for all the indices. We still need NQ to peak back up above its opening price. It was just a moment ago, and then we have the dollar. Okay, sorry, you can't see that. Yep, and then over here we have the dollar starting to peak below opening prices. Now that we're 10 minutes into the hour, contrast from where we were 5 minutes ago. But we got to remember, price does the manipulation first, then it accumulates, then it distributes. So here we go. Sorry, opposite. Accumulate, manipulate, distribution. But we do need to make that wick. So if we're going to buy this hour, that wick was already created on all the indices. Just like on the dollar, you have an up wick created, and now it has the potential to move downwards. So I'm going to switch back over. I just wanted to show that things had kind of switched in the last 5 minutes. Well, once we started seeing bullish momentum coming out of the indices. Okay, I'm going to highlight these two levels because I want to take off the session highs. Oops. Mm. All right, Antonio. Well, good luck with the rest of your trade, and congratulations on some of the winnings you've already booked. All right, everyone. If you've been with me for a while, you know the drill. It's Monday morning. I need some more coffee. I'll be right back. Give me a second. Right. Mhm. Yeah, I think they gave it to us. I was so distraught when I was watching it early in the game. Just couldn't believe how poorly we were performing early on. And of all things, is our defense that was so bad, and that was the anchor of our success for most of the season. So I was really looking for the defense to show up more, but I knew Detroit had playmakers. The receiver, the running back. I mean, whenever you have guys contributing at that level, and they're only in their first or second season in the league, not only is your future bright, but they just move with a. They just have a different pep in their step. They're more hungry. They're out to prove themselves because they haven't earned a big contract yet, and they don't have all the wear and tear that some of the older players have. So I was nervous. I was nervous. I knew Detroit was going to come in with a lot of offensive firepower, and they gave it to us. But that 4th and 2 that they went for, that they didn't get, that didn't necessarily ruin their momentum. Because had they gotten that, that would have sealed the game. There would have been no doubt they would have continued with momentum. But not getting that just kind of gave us an opportunity to make the game closer. And then once the Niners was able to get what happened next? Oh yeah, then the next play, with the next drive actually, when Purdy went deep to Brandon Ayuk, that was almost an interception. Couldn't believe the defender let the ball come off of his face mask, and Ayuk still was in the play, didn't give up on it, and was able to make that catch, which is going to be shown on highlights for the next couple weeks. So once that happened, once that play happened, I said, okay, all right, we're back in the game. This is unbelievable. Um, but I didn't see the play after that coming, where the Detroit fumbled the ball and then put us back in position to tie it up. But once it was tied, I knew that such a young team emotionally wouldn't be able to rebound, and so I had a feeling that we'd win the game at that point. Mm-hmm. All right, Antonio. Yep, absolutely. Yeah, when you go for it on fourth and you miss it, it completely destroys your momentum. Especially since once they were up 17 points, it wasn't so much the 17 points that was against us. It was the fact that we only had 30 minutes to make that up. Um, so yeah, going for it on fourth, giving us a short field, fumbling like that, and giving us a short field again. Yeah, but now the last time we were in Super Bowl was 4 years ago when we ran into Patrick Mahomes. He doesn't have Tyreek Hill this time, but it's still Patrick Mahomes. And everyone asked me, what did I think about the Chiefs and Ravens? And as high as I was on the Ravens, I said, man, I just can't bet against Patrick Mahomes. All right, so now we have another retest of the 8:30 open. So we swept lows. So far, we've made a rebuild. Let's see how far we retrace back in. 78% and failed. Okay. Relative equal lows again. Let's go back up to the 5 minutes since I'm not looking at entries right now. A lot of yellow on the screen. That's because we've been in this area for several days. So the regular trading hour gap is pretty large and it's all over this area. So you see yellow everywhere. But really, this is where we're looking at down to 508. Yep, at 415, this is where we were. We're down at I'm sorry, 509. 509 flat on Friday. And we opened up this morning at 547. And so it wouldn't surprise me if we eclipse these lows that we just made, these relative equal lows at 526, which was previously, I believe, the London Open. We eclipse that. Then we were looking for potentially going down to 509, closing in that gap and trying to look for some support here before possibly reaching for higher prices. But it could just be a day where we're just trading lower. All the indices are trading lower right now. The dollar, ooh, wow, the dollar's pushing. Right. So this is what we have on the other chart. Right. Look at where the dollar is. It finally eclipsed last hour, and now it's going. Very strong candle. 103.995. 103.995. That's the target on dollar. Big bro, not yet. Haven't taken a trade. No, it's Monday morning. I'm still trying to feel my way around the around the charts and get some coffee in me. So no, I haven't taken a trade yet. So you haven't missed anything. Oh, D Anderson, nice, nice, 20 points on 3 contracts. Sweet. Oh, Vivian, no, I haven't seen the. I didn't watch the Ravens games. I haven't seen the highlights. I'll check that out today. Yeah, I was having brunch with some friends yesterday during the Chiefs and Ravens game. All right, Turkish, good morning. BGFG, hello, good morning, welcome back. Caveman, good, welcome back. I caught your message on the Discord. I still need to give you a response on that. Been thinking about it, so it's requiring some thought from me before I respond. But I got your message. All right, DB, welcome, welcome. No, you're not late. Don't worry, you're not late. Look at how price is behaving on the 5 minute. All right, let me get back to the electronic trading hours. Yep. So right now we're dealing with the opening range. We had opening range just after the open here at 9, just before 9:45, reached this high. Then just shortly after, leading into 10 o'clock, we saw it achieve this low. And then now we're just trading in between. Retraced back 71%. Acted like it was going to sweep these lows. It came down and started trading back into the range. So we'll wait and see where price wants to go. All right, Sniper, good morning. BGFG, not yet, not yet. All right, you hit the nail on the head. There you go. Without news, it's not a it's going to be hard for there to be a lot of volatility. You still get it sometimes. I mean, I'm not going to say that Mondays are always slow, um, but so far this Monday has been, and the absence of news definitely didn't help. Mm. So the retest, the midnight open, is that what's going to drive price higher? Yeah, you're right. This is NFP week. And also, if I'm not mistaken, there's an FOMC press conference and statement at 2 o'clock on Wednesday. So let's just examine that for a second as we look at what news we're going to be presented with this week. Let me take my camera. All right. So like we said, there's nothing going on today, but tomorrow, 9 and 10. So medium at 9 o'clock, but two high impact news events at 10. And then Wednesday is when all the fun happens. 8:15, 8:30, 9:45, and then also in the afternoon, 2 o'clock and 2:30. So Wednesday is going to be a day that if you're not really skilled at trading, you want to paper trade or just tape read. But Wednesday could be fun. Just got to make sure we protect ourselves. Thursday we have 8:30 in the morning is a high impact, and then another high impact at 10 with medium impact at the same time. And then Friday 8:30 and 10 as well. So yeah, this week is going to be quite busy, especially in the AM session. So we're going to have to make sure that we're really paying attention to price during the opening bell, because Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday we have news prior to and after the opening bell. So that's going to make for an interesting week. And Wednesday we also have afternoon news for the first time in a while. So tomorrow after 10 we can, I guess, breathe a little easy, and then for the rest of the week it's going to be tough. Just wanted to highlight that as we move through price this morning. All right, so this test of the midnight open was not enough to push us to new highs. It's coming back for another retest. Not only the midnight open, but possibly this hourly low. Got it. Yep. Yep, you're right. We are closing out the first month. So the first monthly chart will be closing in 2 days. And so we gotta definitely know that it met its objective, which was new all-time highs. So that's already been printed. And now as we get to the end of the month, you're right. If it's near the all-time high or the high of the candle, it'll likely want to pull back, create that up wick. And in doing so, that means that as we close out the month, we'll start seeing lower prices. Oh yeah. So you're talking about getting down here. Yep. Okay, so this is London low from last time, but since this is current Asia low, so the London low was swept as soon as it opened last night. That low we were looking for on Friday that never came. $17,460. Yeah, we got quite a ways to go, but you're right. That could be in play. Absolutely, it can be in play. It's about 80 points away from where we are. But good call, Gavin. Hmm. All right, 10:36. We're halfway through the session this morning. Halfway through the session. Just want to remind everyone, if you are enjoying the content, hit the like button, please. Let's get the likes up and see if we can't get YouTube to advertise to a few more traders and get a few more in before we close out our session. Hopefully they join before 11 o'clock so they at least get an hour with us. Wow, fourth fourth test of the midnight open in the last 20 minutes. Not to mention we had the two here, so we've touched 6 times in the last hour. Some point you got to believe that this level is going to give and it's going to break through if it continues to test. Hey, if we do get a break of this level here, I want to watch price and how it reacts once it gets into the fair value gap. We've only tapped into it one time here, and we got a pretty strong reaction coming out of it at 10:05. So if we get back down, let's see exactly how price reacts and whether we get another bullish push out of this area. Yeah, if we tap into it, I'll drop down to the 1 or the 2 minutes so we can watch it on a lower time frame. A big rejection during the last candle. Okay, price is right now at 50% of this range. So coming out of discount, moving back into premium. 50% is at 554.75. Thank you, Jello. Appreciate you. A higher time frame bias is bullish. Um, Yeah, my higher time frame bias is bullish. I'm just being cautious with being bullish only because the all-time high has already been eclipsed here on NQ, but not on ES, and also on the dollar. It has a target just above the equal highs that the dollar is moving towards. And so if it's really going to push towards that, it's either going to consolidate equities prices or send equity prices lower. So that's the only issue with the longer time frame bias of being bullish. But it's been the same for the past 2 weeks, and we've still seen bullish prices on equities. So it can still go up, even though the dollar is also going up. Um, I'm not sure you was on early this morning when we looked at the daily chart, but on the dollar, even though you see the dollar going up weekly, if you look at the daily chart, it's pretty much just in consolidation zones, and it picks one day every 2 weeks to make a higher high, and then it continues to consolidate. Yep. But I'm thinking if we do go higher, we do have these lows down here, like the Asia low down at 459, that it can go and trip up before moving higher. Although it's a pretty far way down, but this would be also the closure of the regular trading hours. Oops, 1610. Wait a minute, how did I get that wrong? Oh, I see what it is. Regular trading hours is 415, not 459. Yep, so I stand corrected. Regular trading hours would end right in this area around 504, but we do have the Asia low down at 460. Um, but I would take it from here. So the regular trading hours right down at the new week opening gap. This is the area that I would focus on for some type of reversal if price trades down. The Asia low, that's pretty far down. So, and a lot of times when we're bullish, one of the lows will be open, and so I would vote for the Asia low to remain open. But the new week opening gap, yeah, I would. That's the area I would look for price to turn around at. Oh, yeah, regular trading hours. If Asia low is not targeted, yes, we could still hit the London high. Yep. So we could sweep this low, which is the New York low is here. We already swept that, but we could sweep out this low, trade through this fair value gap, hit the new week opening gap, and then reach for New York high and London high. Yep. Yeah, we already swept lows, had big energy towards these highs, but we can see it failed. And then once it failed below a fair value gap, it created afterwards. Now it's failed that fair value gap 1, 2, 3. We're looking at maybe the fourth time now. We have the 8:30 open. So yeah, it's not giving me the warm and fuzzies about going higher now. And so I think there's another pool of liquidity it wants to gather before it goes up. 1 hour fair value. Okay. Oh, you're right. We sure do. Yep. And crypto, oddly enough, this is the size of that fair value gap from here to here. So it does include this area. Not that it needs to trade this far down, but I just have this as a lower range. And if we get here, let's really look at price and see what it does afterwards. But I'll slide this over just so it's not so distracting. But yes, everyone can see that 1 hour fair value gap. Big wedge now. Okay. Mm-hmm. Hey Gavin, next time you're in one of your back testing sessions, just take a look when you're looking at morning ranges on a bullish day and look at all the lows from each of the 3 sessions. And generally you'll see, unless the range is really close and tight, generally you'll see one of the lows still open. The most extreme low generally, which in a lot of cases is the Asia. You'll see that one remain open even though price is extremely bullish. Right, I'll try this again. And so anyone in the room, if this is your first time joining or if you've never mentioned anything in the chat, please introduce yourself. Let us know how long you've been trading and where you're trading from, which country, or if you're in the United States, which state are you representing? Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Number 7 now. That midnight open. Yeah, I hope it makes sense now why I have these levels on my chart, the midnight open and the 8:30 open. I know it's something that ICT teaches, but if you look at price, you can see how it's a magnet for price and how it provides confluence for the range whenever it's in that range. Sometimes you'll see it turn around actually at that position, which can give you some confidence as you see some type of energetic move in the opposite direction. Yep. Hey, no problem, Gavin. Yep, it'll continue to make more sense. Also, what we saw this morning. So I have the New York session from 7 to 10. So what we saw here, so 7 to 10 left us with. Let me just find where the New York low was prior. I think it was here. It was just at 9:30, right? So at 10 o'clock, this level became a key level, New York low, and then at the 10 o'clock candle traded below and swept the New York low. And as soon as it did that, you got a big energetic move out. So you'll see that often too, where the New York low will be swept and you'll see a big movement upwards, or the New York high will be swept and you'll see a big movement downwards. But it'll come with time. So just stick with the course and you'll get it. Okay. Thank you for the reminder. We sure did. Let's go down to the lower frames here. This is where we expect, if price has been stalling, this is when we expect for price to finally break out. Oh, wow. Look at this range. Just the same low, but smaller range. So lower highs equal lows. Is this the breakout, or are we going to get a lower low and then finally something like this? Oh, man. Oh, it's hard to trade that. Oh, wow. I see what you're saying, caveman. I just looked at the 30-second on another screen of mine, and I mean the 30-minute, and yes, it is wicks above and below, just wicks. Small candle bodies in the center. Hmm. Okay, so we're seeing bullish action out of this fair value gap. Let's get rid of this. See if we have a breakthrough. The 830 open, close above. It's something similar over here where there's a fair value gap, traded into it, was able to get a decent run up, not make new highs, but it was a decent run up. So I just framed up what this trade would have looked like. Let's see if it does eclipse these highs or if we get the same price action where there's rejection up in this 50s area, 550s area, back downwards. Right, another 30 seconds. Mhm. Okay, it doesn't look like it wants to run for higher prices just yet. This bearish fair value gap created back at 1030 is still holding. It's held 6, 7 candles so far. Let's go ahead and remove the long two out of the way. Doesn't look like that trade's going to be validated. Okay, so far we have these. Looks like we swept these two equal lows. Still haven't touched this one yet. Looking for 525, 17,525. First time we've touched the fair value gap since the open of the hour. Last time we touched the fair value gap, there was huge bullish momentum out of this area. There we go. All right, we have that level broken, and then look at how price is running. Couldn't get through earlier, and as soon as it broke it, then it was able to push all the way down to at least the midpoint. I remember on the hourly, we have a much larger fair value gap, but it stretches down to this area where I have a light bulb for the new week opening gap. Also, this green shaded area. I know it's tough to see this lime green. That's the new week opening gap, which is the same as the color of the fair value gap. I have to change that. But anyway, this lime green area is the new week opening gap. So it's, again, for those new, it's the difference in price from the close on Friday to the opening Sunday at 1800. All right, price has now dug back up to the midnight open. Let's see how price fares, whether it continues to push higher or whether it gets rejected from this level and we get lower prices. But so far, this is the lowest price of the morning since the London session, probably. Yep, since the London session. So it's the lowest price that we've seen in the last 4 or 5 hours. So now we're looking just to see if that was how much retracement it needed in order to push higher. All right, we've crossed over into 11 o'clock. We have 1 hour remaining in the morning session. Gavin, if we see higher prices and you see a big push up, then absolutely this will be a turtle soup setup. Yep. I'll leave this here, even though we've already taken it. I'll leave it there for another 5 or 10 minutes, just so we're all aware of why price might be moving the way that it is. And then I'll get it out of the way so it's not distracting. For now, that's where we're going to leave it. Let me go ahead and stretch this hourly one across just so we see where it is. I think it traded down to like 25% or something like that. Mm. Yeah, almost 25%. Took 5 points on that setup, on that drop. Okay, awesome, D Anderson. Gavin, one thing you want to recognize here is although it did dip below this low and it did start pushing north and looking for higher prices, so far it has not left a fair value gap or anything behind. Generally, when you get an impulse, think about this candle here where it was much larger than the candles that preceded it, and it left a fair value gap for price to trade back into and then seek higher prices. So generally, that's what you want to see when you see an energetic move. Like this would have been a nice candle if the candle that preceded it was really small, but the candle that preceded it was also large. So this candle kind of just looks like an equal size candle as opposed to being a signal for something to come. Okay. So current candle opened up at the midnight open. Hmm. Oh, target in Asia low. All right, caveman. That's 460. Yeah. Okay. Well, if this is the trade that works out for you, you're going to be looking at quite a gain there. So good luck. Yep. Yeah, you're right, Antonio. It's market's not really showing me anything that makes me excited about joining. So I'm going to, at least for the time being, just remain flat and not try to do much and see what it gives me later on, either later on this hour or this afternoon session. But yeah, I definitely don't want to start off the week negative just because I wanted to get a trade in this session. Especially we're looking at what the market's going to look like later on this week with all the news events Tuesday through Friday. So for now, I'm just gonna sit back and watch and see if it gives me something that entices me to join. Let's see. It's the stream. All right, crypto, no problem. Yeah, sometimes I am being quiet, so you weren't wrong in your assumption. Hey, that's hey Bob, that lets you know that you're having growth and you're moving in the right direction. So just continue to be patient and look for your particular setup. Make sure you protect yourself with a appropriate stop loss, and your trading will continue to improve. All right, macro period is over now. All right, everyone, give me a couple minutes. I'll be right back. Got to get my third cup of coffee this morning. We're in the final hour of our trading this morning, so I'll be right back. Okay. All right. Crypto's in for long. Yep, you can go here and have like a 1.5, or I'm sorry, 2.5, 1 to 2.5. So about almost an 8-point stop loss. So that's actually not a lot, really, when you think about it. About an 8-point stop loss and a 20-point TP. Okay, so far all the highs have held. So let's see if the first high is the one taken, which will be this one at 553. I can't imagine it not happening with how close it is now. So let me go ahead and mark up the next one. Okay, that one has been taken, which were at the time equal highs or relative equal. Another set of equal highs here. So this is essentially what they call trend line liquidity, where you start to get a trend line that forms and eventually it gets broken and then all of your highs get swept. So now this one is swept. So let's move it to the high. All right. So people basically find comfort in these highs being protected. So if they're in short position, this is where they put their stop loss and the market comes and takes them all at once. So it first took this one, then this one here. And now we're aiming for equal highs next at 563. Yep. Yeah, exactly. So engineered liquidity could either be trend lines like this, or it can be equal highs, like you see equal highs here. Yep. So big bro, if you are looking at these equal highs being taken or this high being taken, then yes, this is where you want to enter in the long. You could wait for a retracement down here, but that may not come. So you'll want to enter in the long somewhere in a fair value gap along the way with a target of 564 or 570, depending on where you believe price is going. Yep. So I'm going to take out this trend line now. We don't need it. I was just showing it just to prove a point. Stop loss of break even. All right, crypto. So you're, hey, risk off now. You're just leaning back and relaxing. 3 seconds left to close this candle. All right, so it did close above that fair value gap, the bearish one that was created over here. Yep. Just so everyone knows, this is not a trade that I'm taking. It's just a trade that I highlighted as a setup that someone could take if they believe that these highs are being taken or going to be taken. That's giving you a somewhere to enter. Mhm. Right, that trade idea did not work. We now have a retracement even further down into this fair value gap. Right now, let's see how price reacts now that it's here. Okay. I hear you. Yep. Definitely, Gavin. You would have ran with momentum. You'd be like, oh my God, it's breaking out. Let me get in before it takes away from me. And then you would have got in and it turned around on you. So yeah, learning price action definitely changes things for you. Those London highs. Yeah, I want to see it take those London highs too. The New York high and the London high. I would like to see those. I just, for whatever reason, I just think we're coming here first. But so far, price action is not showing that. It's showing a willingness to stay in this zone and not really get down here. But it's also showing an unwillingness to get up to those higher levels too. It's just sitting right in this middle zone between the 8:30 open and the midnight open. Mm. If you're in a long, if you're in a long, one of these two, I think, should be where you want to set your target. Either if you want to be really conservative, get out at 564. We do have equal highs here, so I would get out at 564. If you want to go, excuse me, a little bit longer, 570 is available. We do have the New York and London high, but as we mentioned so far, I mean, look at price action. It hasn't been willing to break through and have a continuation. If it breaks anything, then it wants to retrace back in. Even when it broke lower, it retraced back in. So just be careful that that price isn't looking to expand right now. So make sure your targets are nearby. And if you have multiple contracts, then of course you can always leave your last contract open to potentially run for higher prices or whatever direction you're looking at. But based on what I've seen this morning, I wouldn't have targets too far away from where current price is. Right. If we just look at where price has been since 10 o'clock, it's been from 570 down to 520. So there's a 50-point range for the entire price over almost 2 hours. Yep. Actually a little over 2 hours. So okay, let's just measure and see what the retracement was that we just experienced. Okay, so we had a retracement to 61.8% exactly to the tick. And then we saw a bullish push out, creating a fair value gap, retrade back into it. Another push out, sweeping that high. So, all right, so we have that high broken. 564 is up next. It looks like the first target is getting ready to get hit. Drop down to the 15-second. I rarely watch this time frame, so just think it'd be interesting to watch a print a candle every 15 seconds. There we go. First target has been touched. Traded through. Up next, 570. Let's see if we can get there. Okay. Okay. Set this 757 as a low. Or 557. Sorry, 557 is a low. Okay, sweet. Okay. So we did take out on the third candle. So we got a high, higher low. I'm sorry, lower high and a lower high. That third candle here, we did eclipse that high. So I'm expecting higher prices. I see it's retracing now, but let's see if it can build back up and overtake those highs. Hmm. All right, so it did come down to these equal lows here. Interesting to see. Oh, big bro, I see. Oh, thanks, big bro. I appreciate you. So right now, what we're looking at is, and this is something interesting. I just mentioned that we were looking at this swing high. So we have a high, lower high on both sides. So this one on the right hand side, this is the high. If we're gonna go higher, we want to see this high broken, and it kind of tipped its hand on this candle. This candle right here, it went just above and said, "Yep, we're going higher." But before, I got to go do something else. And so it came down and it swept these lows here all the way down to the edge of the fair value gap. So let's see if it can continue to build and overtake this high at 567. But if you're in a long, make sure you are nimble and you're protecting yourself just in case price turns around on you. Make sure you know where you want to exit. All right, another sweep of a low. Let's see if now this pushes price higher or if it continues to push lower. Again, if you're in a long, make sure you know where you want to exit if prices turn around on you. Okay, so now look and see if we can't eclipse these highs now. Go and run both highs same time. Yep, leave a fair value gap behind. Maybe tap it, maybe leave it open. Great. Maybe we have it coming now. Let's see. Right. Same area is held up price twice. Let's see if it can push through this time. Eclipsing this high at 567. Yep. Let me get off of the 15 seconds since I know you guys can't really see that time frame that well. Let's see if we get some speed here now that we had immediate rebalance. Also, we had these highs that were eclipsed, and now we had a retracement back down. So just retracement back to these highs. See if this candle can be the one to push through the 565 level. Equal highs. Right. This one just might do it. All right, not yet. Price does not want to push through and expand just yet. Mm-mm. Tagged and tagged. Sounds good to me. Okay, come on, run up in there. There we go. All right, continuing to show that it wants to take out this high. Remember the high is at 567 and a quarter, followed by 570, which was the high at 10 o'clock or 10:15. Yep. So anyone who entered down here at 537, you're already at over a 1 to 3, and you've already booked more than 25 points. Anyone who took this fair value gap entry, you're in the 20-point range, but you've also booked a 1 to 2 on this trade already. All right, finally got through. There we go. All right, next target 570 and a half. 570 and a half. We've reached that target. Anyone who got in at the very low down at 537, or crypto, I think you said you're down at 535. You're looking at already a 1 to 4 trade. You're looking at over 30 points bagged already. Okay, you got in at 540. Awesome, awesome. Okay, so you got in down here. Yeah, after ES is probably the stronger pair since it has not reached its high yet, whereas Nasdaq has. So that's probably not a bad idea. Big Dave, what's going on? Good morning. Ten seconds. Let's see where this candle closes, or if it can push through in this last couple seconds. There we go. There we go. Beat it. All right, so I can drop this one. And we've already hit 570. So anyone who had that as a target, you've already been cashed out on that one. If you didn't put your TP there and you're just wondering where next, okay, we have the New York high at 583, 583 and a half. This was the high experienced at 943 this morning. We also have the London high at 591, 583 and 591. 569 is the weekly pivot point. Okay. All right, everyone. About 15 minutes left in the session this morning. 15 minutes left. Go ahead and throw in any final questions you have in the chat. Let's go ahead and get that conversation started so we can finish up on time this morning. Hope some of you were able to catch this last hour. It wasn't something that I wanted to trade, so I didn't. But I realize it does match some of your trading models, and so I hope you guys were able to catch some of that run. Yes, sir. I am live every day. So we start the New York AM session at New York 9:15. So the New York time at 9:15 in the morning, and then we do the afternoon session. We start New York 1 p.m. So 1300. All right, excellent, excellent. Look forward to seeing you in the future chats. Don't be shy. Jump in, say hello, good morning, ask any questions you may have. Okay, all right. All right, new highs put in during the last candle at 574. We also found our latest macro period starting just now as well. All right, I'm getting rid of this long tool. We all can clearly see that trade was a winner. It has delivered at least a 1 to 4 so far and continue to deliver. So anyone who got in at this very low end, congrats again. Make sure you understand where you want to go as far as your target. Also make sure that you're protecting yourself with your stop loss, locking in some of those profits that you've already realized. can quickly jump over to the other charts. I just want to show you quickly where everything is right now. You just all right, there we go. So if we look at where things started last night at 1800, we can see we have an SMT here. Okay. And the final one. All right, so we have higher lows on both ES and Dow. But we made a lower low at the open, 1800 yesterday. Made a lower low on Nasdaq, which in part is supporting bullish momentum now, is that low was swept on one of the indices we have here. We had a trace back down into the 1 hour fair value gap at 11 o'clock. And now we see price moving forward. I'm not saying it's going to overtake these highs, but those in longs now, you can see that momentum is on your side and you're still pushing for higher prices. So I just wanted to point that out. That was something I overlooked this morning, and I was just reviewing price a few minutes ago and I saw it. All right. Any final questions? We're getting close to the end of our session. Absolutely splash. Good job. You said you caught it at 540. Excellent. Yeah, patience is always the key. That's name of the game. The winners in trading are the ones that are sitting on their hands most of the time and just waiting for a setup that they like. ICT strat, I mostly like the 2022 mentorship model with the fair value gap built in, so the unicorn. But if the unicorn is not available, the 2022 model I also like, as well as the breaker block. So it's those three that I use mostly. Good job, Bob. Way to go. Goal met. Excellent, excellent. That's exactly what I want to hear. All right. New York high is in play, 583. We're approaching as we move towards it now. Again, up next, the London high, 591.5. It's only another 8 points above, about 10 points from where we are, 8 points above the New York high. Out of trades today, mostly just the 10 o'clock hour, just going back and forth, just trading back and forth, back and forth. It just, right. If we look at this section, how price was printing, like this, yeah, this right here, it just didn't work for me. It was just a lot of nothing going on there, even here, and trading back down. So until almost 11:30, we hadn't done anything. So yeah, the last several minutes are here, but if you look, every other candle is a different color, or almost every other candle. Like it's still back and forth, back and forth. To get these 50 points took almost an hour. That's a long time for that many points. Generally, what you see in low resistance liquidity runs is price will move quickly. 15-20 minutes, it would have covered this entire space. So it's price action just wasn't great earlier, and I didn't really see a setup that I was in love with. So that was the reason why I didn't take a setup. Yeah, but had I wanted to take a setup, it would have been something like this. Right. So you had a sweep of a low. You had a move, try to move higher. It swept lows, came back, moved higher. So here this becomes your breaker block. And you do have the fair value gaps inside. You have a retracement back in, which then gives you an entry. And then you would have been taking a trade on the exit and closure. Stop loss would have been underneath. So it would have been something like this. Right. And then looking for a 1 to 2. So we would have just closed out the trade like just a couple minutes ago. But the trade would have been entered over here. In all likelihood, because the New York high is so close, probably would have held into the New York high, so probably would still be in a trade. Um, but that was what kept me out. It wasn't that you couldn't trade. It was just right. It didn't speak to me. I need price action to speak to me. I'll leave this here just in case someone else needs it. Another reason why I didn't take the trade was I was also looking for these lows to be touched. We had a new week opening gap and the low of the regular trading hour. So I was hoping that price would retrace this far down, and it did. It turned around up here. And so I wasn't sure if that was a fake out or if it was really turning around. Psychology. I am currently doing the 150K challenge for Topstep. I've been trading now for 3 years next week, or in maybe the week after. I'll be at 3 years of trading. About 2 years in ICT. The first year was bouncing around, just trying to figure out what my style was going to be. But the last 2 years have been focused on ICT styles trading. How to identify choppy markets? Well, generally, one, you look for news. So if there's no news, you may get choppy markets. So today there's no news, no medium or high impact news. That gives you potential for choppy markets. Also, I look for the dollar to see how the dollar is performing against the indices. I want to see all three indices trading the same direction at the same time, and I want to see the dollar trade the opposite direction. So that's generally what I do. It's on the 15 unicorn setup from Asia displacement. Then you have this setup on the 1 minute. Okay. Thanks, Ray. Yep. All right, we're 2 minutes past our time here. So I'm going to go ahead and shut down the feed now. Again, I want to thank all of you for being here this morning and for being part of the live stream. Again, we're coming back 1300, so about an hour. We'll be back on for the afternoon session. I hope to see you all there. Hopefully we add a few more people, but if you can't make it, I'll catch you on the next one tomorrow morning. 9:15 is our next AM session for New York. All right, everyone. Hope you had a good day, a good morning of trading, or at least you enjoyed the stream. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't. And until next time, thank you very much. See you in an hour.